Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pulse Social Podcast. My name is Sam Norris, and I'm a trainee sports journalist here at Pulse Social. Today, I'm here joined by a very good friend of mine, Xavier Quintero, who has past experience of playing football at academy level, especially for Reading FC's academy. Thank you for joining me today, Zav.
No worries.
Um, all right. So first of all, if you want to introduce yourself to the audience and tell them a bit about your background, within sports, football, and like even when we were back in school.
Well, obviously, my name's Xavier Quintero, as Sam mentioned. In terms of my history and my sport history, started playing football from probably the age of 3 to 4. Played all the way up until about the age of 18. We'll go into a bit more of the history of that during this podcast. But now, obviously, I'm working as a full-time estate agent, so it's a bit of a different industry than football and sports. But again, we'll discuss that during the interview.
Mm, perfect. Okay. So Zab, have you always had a passion for sports? Like what was the age? Obviously, you said from the ages of 3 or 4. Like what age was it when you decided you wanted to go down like the route of, going to academy level at football?
To be honest, I've always kind of just played for fun from a young age.
Mm.
And even when I did sign for an academy, I was obviously still so young. So I don't think I built that passion really until the age of maybe early teens, 14, 13. And from then on, that's when the passion grew. Because when you're so young, I don't think you have the mindset to take it so seriously.
Yeah.
Uh, but as you obviously playing for an academy, um, yeah, that passion grew.
Yeah, like because when obviously when we were in school, like we'd always play in like the primary school teams, and then obviously when we got to secondary school, we had the Cardinal Vaughan, the main football team.
Yeah,
You were picked up every week, wasn't you? So yeah, like you were in the A team throughout the whole 5 years.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so do you know? So when you got to the academy, was it like what you expected? And like, was there things that surprised you? Like, could you tell that, when you joined the academy, like, could you tell the bar was set so high that you're jumping from, say, from football, from school, from like the Vaughan and primary school, and even when you played Sunday league as well, to the
Yeah,
academy?
from the get-go as a young age, it was always a higher level. You could definitely tell that watching the quality of football. Um, but in terms of the level, it was never properly serious up until it got to the ages of maybe 12, 13.
Yeah.
Uh, Obviously, I joined when I was maybe 10, so that's obviously still very young. Um, so it wasn't very serious at that point. But obviously, when I got to the age of 13, things started to become serious. Um, it was a big deal. That's kind of when um, the level started growing.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, so what was a typical day like? Do you know when you was at the academy, like you get there, what was your day, what would your day be like at the academy? Obviously, I know you'd be training and stuff, but like, did you have like the gyms where you could train and stuff like that? Like what was your day like?
Typically during the weekdays, obviously the kids had to go to school, so it was pretty much just go to the training ground, train, and go home. But maybe on the weekends it'd be a bit longer.
Yeah.
Uh, we'd have strengthening before training, a bit of gym as well, and then obviously went into training and matches on a Sunday usually.
Yeah,
Uh,
because you always had games on a weekend. Like you had the odd time where you play like during the week, say if it was like a cup game or something.
yeah, week games started when you were kind of older and you started
Mm. Yeah.
playing cup and whatnot. But generally speaking, it was a Sunday match game.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, because I'd always remember back in school when you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I played yesterday," and you were like, "Yeah." I'd always go, "Oh, how'd you play?" You'd always go like, "Oh, I scored a goal and all that."
At the
uh,
time.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
when I was playing on Sundays, sometimes I'd be traveling across to Wales and whatnot, which was good fun.
yeah.
Uh,
Like you'd have to travel like all around the country, wouldn't you? Playing different teams.
yeah, yeah, like the likes of Cardiff, Swansea, then Manchester. Um, but yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah. So so do you feel like for you were like the benefits and drawbacks of like playing football at like a do you know like at an academy level, like what would you think were the good things and the bad things for you? And like how did it affect you mentally, physically, emotionally? Like, if you could just elaborate on that.
In terms of repeat the question, sorry.
So what would you feel were the benefits and the drawbacks of playing football at an academy level? And then I'll ask you the other question separately, just so you can explain that one first.
In terms of benefits, playing at that kind of level with high quality coaches and having lots of um, equipment and whatnot, it definitely enhanced your performance.
Yeah.
Uh, just that kind of environment, it really does set the bar higher than the likes of a Sunday League team.
And it would make you like, you boost your confidence up every week, playing at that high of a level.
Yeah, um, and also in terms of drawbacks, I don't think there are any other than the pressure of that at such a young age.
Of course.
Because you do have to perform. It's like playing at Premier League level, really.
Mm.
Uh, where if you don't perform, you're at worry of getting released. Um, but yeah, in terms of other benefits, it just gave me the freedom to go all over the country, perform, have fun.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was a good experience.
Yeah. I mean, that is some experience going across the country, boosting your confidence every week. It's like you probably you do you feel like you became a better player every week, like when you got more experience.
You definitely get better as as a player over the years, but obviously everyone does. So you could imagine you do have some good weeks and some bad weeks. But as you can see in the Premier League, at the highest level, people have good weeks and bad weeks. But yeah, you can definitely see yourself grow as a player throughout the years, as your body develops, as your skills develop. So yeah.
Okay, and then what I was asking earlier, how did it affect you, mentally, physically, and like emotionally?
It didn't really affect me emotionally or physically or anything. I've had quite a strong mind from a young age, so it never really affected me in that way. Where it would probably some other children maybe getting released, and then they stop playing football because they can't handle the pressure and whatnot. But I never really had that problem, to be honest.
Okay, okay, brilliant. Okay. Um, so moving on to the next question. What do you think were your highs and lows whilst playing for Reading Academy? Like, did you win any trophies, score any impressive goals in particular? And like the lows for you, did you have any bad games? Did you have any severe injuries? Like, can you maybe explain a bit more into that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in terms of the highs, there was many, probably more highs than lows.
Mm.
I mean, from a young age, playing against good teams, scoring goals against good teams like the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, and whatnot. Um, it's just surreal to score goals against a team with that sort of name. Um, I also went to abroad for a tournament in Norway. Played excellent during that. Won the whole tournament and came home with a nice big trophy. Um, and other highs, getting offered contracts most of the years.
Mm.
Um, and overall was a good player at the academy.
Yeah, because you said you had other trials, didn't you? Like obviously, uh I don't know if it was when you was at Reading or not, but you had trials at Tottenham and QPR, didn't you?
Um, there were situations with that, but obviously they never worked out.
Mm.
Uh, Tottenham, I was only at the development, and it got to an age where they stopped development, so they didn't offer me any trials, which was unfortunate. As I believe they did really like me as a player.
Yeah.
But obviously there was probably things that threw them off. A lot of the time it was more height. That was their excuse for a lot of
Yeah.
academies in England. Um, but yeah,
Okay. And then you said the lows. You didn't really have many lows, did you?
no, but towards the end of my journey at Reading, when I got to maybe the age of 14, 13, the game definitely changed.
Yeah.
Um, just because physicality was such a big deal at that age. When people started going gym, their body started developing,
Yeah.
uh, and obviously being small, other players were just humongous and
Mm.
kind. They were the chosen ones because they got the results. And yeah, so that just led to less game time.
Yeah.
Um, and the ultimate low was me wanting to leave due to no game time.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's like because you probably got to a point where you was like, if I'm not getting treated well, then maybe this isn't for me,
Yeah,
especially club and
definitely. I decided to leave and thought I would be treated differently elsewhere.
mm,
I deserved game time. There was no point being at a place like that where you're not going to be able to perform and show your ability. So it was a decision of mine to leave, but I never found another academy in the end.
yeah. I mean, that is a shame. But again, like going back to when we was at school, like I even remember this was when we was about 14. Do you remember where you played it at Loftus Road at QPR Stadium?
Yes.
Oh, and I remember I was in the stands, and I remember you scored the goal to tie the game. I can't remember who we were playing.
Yeah, it was another school. Don't
Yeah.
remember.
And then I
Um,
remember it went to penalties, and I saw you scored your penalty. And that was like, for me, that was like, yeah, like even when from a young age with me, because obviously I've known you for so long, like I always knew that you were going to be like some player.
yeah,
You,
definitely.
because I remember at school you'd always skill me up and all that, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's why I didn't take on football. That's why I stopped to rugby. But but yeah, again, like yeah, you've always been that good of a player. But again, as you said, like it doesn't always go your way with the trials. Like I feel like you had quite a successful, like at such a young age, like a successful young footballing career. Like, would
Yeah,
you agree with that?
definitely. But like I said earlier, things just happen the way they are.
Yeah,
Things out, you get obstacles throughout the way, and you either beat them or they beat you.
yeah, yeah. Um, so how did you manage the balance, going back to like school? How did you manage the balance between football and school life and, like your personal life, like and other responsibilities?
Yeah, it was difficult, especially late nights where you're training, having to travel all that way, because it would be leaving straight from school because it was such a distance. Um, so I didn't really have time to do homework and whatnot, so I'd have to come in the next day, so I just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
Difficult to juggle the education and sports side, but I think because I was playing at such a high level, my parents and teachers kind of allowed it,
Mm.
but it was difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because you'd always obviously you say you always had matches on the weekend.
Yeah, it was
You
very it's a very time consuming
Yeah.
sport if you're playing at that kind of level, definitely.
Because you've got all these things that you have to balance and you have to like juggle, and it's obviously like that's not even just with football, like with life in general, it's
Yeah.
all the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand that. Obviously, this question, like you've already answered this earlier, but do you know how did it end for you at Reading? And then like how did you pursue football after leaving Reading?
So like I said earlier, I got to an age where I wasn't getting much game time. So I decided to ask to leave. There is a situation with leaving academies. You can't just leave. They have to release you.
Okay.
Uh, Otherwise you have a big price tag on your head.
Mm,
So thank God they offered me the paperwork and whatnot just to be as you would say now, a free agent.
mm,
Um, I wasn't at that level to be called a free agent, but that's the best way to put it. Um, but in terms of how I dealt with leaving, I didn't really think much of it, to be honest. I just thought I was confident in myself, thinking I would find another academy.
yeah.
My ability. Um, Obviously, just played at a Sunday league level, just trying to perform as best as possible, hoping I'd get spotted.
Yeah.
Uh, I think football is one of those things, it's right place, right time.
Yeah, definitely.
Get spotted and you're playing well and it goes well. And I've experienced that throughout leaving Reading. I've had people come up to me, but a lot of these people just like to talk. They'll say, "Oh, we're from this academy," and then you kind of never hear back.
Yeah. And like again, like how you like pursuing football after leaving. Obviously, going back to you had the school team that you was playing at? Obviously, you said you played Sunday League, and even now at this age, like even we sometimes me and you we go play five-a-side, didn't we? And like there was a period last year where we had a five-a-side team.
Yeah,
We were playing like every Tuesday in a league, and do you know what? Like that's more of the fun side of football, but where obviously you had the more professional side where you was playing in the academy. So obviously, like you've dealt with the different types of football, academy level, and then you had the school level, and then obviously, five-a-side when we play for
yeah,
fun. Like, yeah, it must have been a lot.
yeah, definitely was.
Okay, so here's quite it's not like a random question, but if you could go back in time and give your younger self one piece of advice during your time at the academy, what would it be?
I think I probably would have definitely spent a lot more time off the pitch trying to develop myself. I know I was still young and I didn't really know how to develop myself off the pitch. It was definitely later in life where I knew to make it to that level, you have to be doing extra hours off the pitch. So if I did go back in time, I wanted to make it and maybe stay at the academy and prove myself. That's definitely one thing I would have done.
Mm,
Is spend some more time off the pitch,
yeah.
working on myself.
Yeah, but again, like you like I understand what you're saying, but you was all like what if you wasn't playing at the academy, like say if you had an off day, you'd still be outside in your garden training. Like but what you're trying to say is like you wish you worked a bit harder.
Yeah, I mean, I did play for fun outside hours of the academy, but I'm talking more specific things, maybe whether it's shooting, passing, or ball control, whatever.
Yeah.
That's one thing I would say I probably could have done to get to that level where I needed to be to prove myself more.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So last of all, controversial question, but what does football mean to you now? Like, do you miss playing at the level, playing for Reading? Like, do you miss it all?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you see some people you've played with back in the past on TV, and you're thinking, should I go back to football? Um, but like I said, life changes,
Yeah.
uh, things change, your priorities change, whether you need money or whatnot. And if you are playing at that level, you do need to spend a lot of time and hours
Yeah,
practicing.
that's your whole life at that point.
It is very time consuming. It's pretty much half a week on football if you want to get to that level.
Yeah.
Uh, I would love to go back to it. Who knows? Maybe I will.
Yeah, who
Uh,
knows? Yeah, definitely.
but
Well,
as of right now,
yeah.
probably
Well, Zavi, thank
just
you so much for joining me today. And
yeah.
yeah, thank you everyone for listening to the Pole Social Podcast. I've been Sam Norris, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.